Hi, Peter. How are you?
Morning, Paul. I'm as well as can be expected.
Yeah. And welcome, everybody, to today's Ponder. Peter is going to cogitate and ponder and stuff on a topic which is dear to his heart and also I think, to lots of others as well. And it's to do with waste. And Peter's topic today is there is no column for waste, which sort of has some overtones of an accounting entry type that may be missing, Peter.
Thank you, Paul. Yes, no column for waste. Um, I'd be very interested to know which businesses have a column for recording their waste. And I'm hoping it's not many actually, because I'm hoping they don't have any waste. But many businesses miss out on the possibility of claiming anything that does end up as waste from so that they can at least claim it as a tax deduction. They need to check with their accountants to do that. Waste has been a big topic in recent years, and so it should be. But in business, it goes beyond just the looking at the waste generated. And there's some other areas of the waste that I would like to look at specifically. And one of them is to minimise the waste. And sometimes waste occurs through damage. And damage could be stock fading in the window from the sunlight. I've been in many business kitchens where there's piles of goods in the corner and they have been either damaged or out of fashion or whatever it might be, but they've not been returned for a refund. So one of the things to do, I would suggest, is to have really good relationship with your suppliers. So there's areas there that you can negotiate. So a returns policy is one of the prime things. Have a returns policy so that you know that you can swap over or return it and get a refund. And that could include the packaging as well. Don't miss the opportunity to return the packaging so you're not responsible for having to return or get rid of that pallet or that shrink wrap or whatever, however else it comes into your shop. It becomes an impost on you. It takes up space, which you're paying rent for. I think that becomes something to look closely at. I think, and we had this, Paul, we had a poor young lady working for us and she overordered stationery. And unfortunately, for one reason or another, she had to leave us. And so on tidying up her desk, I found a box under the desk full of glue sticks and whiteout, which we would never use in a million days. Firstly, we don't glue much, and secondly, we never made many mistakes, Paul. But it was not returned. We could have returned that and got a credit. And I don't know how many businesses where that happens, where we just hang on to stuff that we don't really want because we're too embarrassed to take it back. So don't be embarrassed. Have a good relationship with your suppliers. We spent a lot of money with that stationery supplier. The other little pet peeve in today, talking about waste, other than the fact that 5% of everything we sell goes to covering shop theft. And shop theft is items that are either stolen or pilfered or misused unknowingly by staff, by customers and suppliers. So that's something to really look closely at. That's 5%. That can be a big difference on your bottom line.
Oh, gosh.
And yeah, sorry, I'm giving you no chance in this discussion, Paul. I had one more point to make, but sorry, Paul.
No, please keep going, Peter.
The other comment I had to make was I have this passionate dislike of bargain bins, Paul. Now, they're not really, but what the business is doing is shooting themselves in the foot. A bargain bin is no more than you haven't been able to return the item, it's faded in the sun, the packaging might be a little bit damaged, it could be out of date, any number of reasons. So we cobble all that detritus together and put it in a bargain bin near the front door. So what are we actually doing? We're preventing customers buying the same items at full price, at full profit. So we're shooting ourselves in the foot by foregoing profit by them buying things out of the bargain bin. So my point is that if you don't have a bargain bin, try and get refunds, and if you really have to get rid of it, make a note of it and claim it, possibly as a tax deduction, and give it away to either charity or to people who can't afford it or people who wouldn't bought it in the first place. Sorry, Paul.
No. The pilfering thing there, Peter, in particular, was something that had my eyebrows curling, and it's that type of leakage, as you say, manifests itself on your in terms of your profitability, big time.
Very much, yep.
1 in 20, 1/20th of what you're doing actually is actually just walking out the door. And
Yep.
It's not just, and as you point out quite correctly, it's not just customers. It can, unfortunately, in some situations, it can be employees, and you also mentioned suppliers as well.
Yeah, and I've had experience with all of those things happening, as you probably have seen and done as well. With staff, I had staff and 24-hour operation, and so they get thirsty and they'd help themselves to a bottle of Coke thinking they were entitled. So we had to, if you have to think about, let's just make up a percentage, 25% profit on a bottle of Coke, you'd have to sell 4 more bottles of Coke before you go back where you started to make a profit. So the sales might have looked good, a lot of Coke going, but we weren't making a profit. So we're actually selling the Coke to the staff at cost price was a good option. And also, we were dealing in fuel, and if you're dealing in liquids, that's so important. It's so easy, and the profit margin is so small that suppliers were checked on delivery every time. We would get up on top of that truck and dip every compartment on that truck to make sure. And it did happen once where the truck left without delivering one of the compartments, and that would have been a huge loss but we checked it when it came in, and we checked it once the driver said it was empty. So we'd go back up and make sure all of the compartments were empty. Sorry, I'm raving on, but it happens in a way, that unexpected ways where this loss can be quite impactful, as you say, Paul, on that profit, on that bottom line. Really.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons, I think, Peter, why businesses need to watch carefully their COGS, their cost of goods sold. So one of the ways that percentage can blow out is through waste, and it can also be through loss in the form of pilfering.
Yes.
Thank you, Peter. It's a fascinating topic. It's one of those things that perhaps people don't want to talk about, and perhaps get swept under the carpet. But it is definitely one of those factors in improving your bottom line. So thank you very much, Peter.
Thanks, Paul. Yes, I'm pleased to be able to talk about it.
That's good, folks. If you've got some benefit from today, then please subscribe. It's we look forward to having these little ponders, and look forward to your next involvement. So thank you for your interest, and Peter, thank you for today's presentation.